personnel directly into all security lines of effort. We're driving real-time intelligence sharing through the Southeast Florida Fusion Center and the FBI's National Intelligence Coordination Center. In addition, the FBI recently stood up the FBI's National Counter-Drone Training Program in Huntsville, Alabama, and in coordination with Federal Air Marshal Service, we will detect and neutralize all unauthorized drone activity that threatens the matches and the Fan Fest events. I'm especially grateful for my colleagues here whose officers have participated in this program and are now certified in counter-UAS operations. Currently, 6 officers from the Miami area and 1 from Tampa are graduates of this training program and are actively strengthening our operational readiness posture. Make no mistake, the FBI has the people, the partnerships, and the resources at the ready. Our success is directly tethered to the relationships with the law enforcement professionals you see standing with us today. They will be on the ground in the command posts ahead of any threat. The eyes of the world will be on South Florida, and the world will see this region at its absolute best. As co-deputy director of the FBI, I can say with complete confidence that the law enforcement professionals across South Florida are prepared and committed to keeping this event safe. Our goal is clear. We will protect the community, the fans, the athletes, and everyone through our combined might. The partnerships in this room are not new. They are time-tested and mission-hardened, as I mentioned. When those first matches kick off on June 11th, Florida will be ready. Our collaboration, our planning, and our commitment will leave a lasting legacy for FIFA and for every major event that comes to this state in the future. The world will be watching, and together we will make sure they see the very best of the United States of America and what Florida has to offer. I thank you for your time and attention, and I want to turn it over to our special agent in charge of our premier field office here in Miami, SAC Brett Stiles.
Good afternoon. So FBI Miami's #1 priority for the 2026 FIFA World Cup is really simple. Maintain a safe and secure environment for the teams, the fans, and the South Florida community. And we'll do so in close collaboration with our law enforcement partners, many of whom you see standing up here with me today. Collectively, we have spent months preparing for this important international competition, which will bring fans from across the globe to our nation. We welcome them and want them to enjoy their time in South Florida both safely and securely. And I can say with confidence that when we are ready and will remain vigilant throughout this tournament, we want to keep the focus on the matches and the festivities. One area I want to highlight for our communities and our guests is the use of unmanned aerial systems, or drones. The Federal Aviation Administration has established temporary flight restrictions around World Cup stadiums and venues. And for us, this means our Hard Rock Stadium and the Fan Festival at Bayfront Park. If you have a drone and you're planning to use it during the World Cup matches, keep in mind that flying a drone in these areas is strictly prohibited. The FBI and a select group of law enforcement partners have the authority and the capability to intercept and seize drones that violate these restrictions. This includes civil penalties, criminal fines up to $100,000, up to a year in prison, and a seizure of your drone. And there will be no grace period for violators. Drone operators should always check airspace restrictions before flying a drone using FAA-approved Before You Fly apps or visiting tfr.faa.gov. And if anyone sees unsafe drone activity, report it to law enforcement immediately, and let's keep the skies safe. My comments and the Deputy Director's comments will also be available in Spanish and Portuguese immediately following the press conference. I'd like to introduce Chief Manny Morales from the Miami Police Department as our next speaker.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. It is an honor to be here. And first of all, I would like to thank the Deputy Director Bailey from the FBI, Special Agent in Charge Skiles, and the FDLE Commissioner Glass for being here today. The collaboration meeting we had today is the reason why Miami is strong. Miami stands ready for whatever comes our way. My message today is incredibly simple, right? For our residents, our visitors, we've been preparing for over a year to make sure that these events that are happening in South Florida go off without a hitch. To any individuals, bad actors that have nefarious intentions are thinking about even coming down to South Florida, what you see behind me is the reason why you will regret the decision if you come down here with bad intentions. We stand ready to protect our community. We stand ready to showcase the best Miami has to offer, to not only enjoy the games, but to highlight the beautiful area in all our cities. And the cooperation that we bring together is truly inspiring. So we're looking forward to a great series. And as we host the 23 days of Fan Fest in the beautiful city of Miami, our beautiful downtown and our absolutely iconic Bayfront Park. So come on down and enjoy the games. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeffrey Vincent, the Southern Regional Administrator. As the world comes together for the FIFA World Cup 2026, the FAA, in coordination with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice, will establish temporary no-drone zones here in Miami and across the United States over match venues, fan festivals, and certain team locations. A no-drone zone means unauthorized drone flights are strictly prohibited in the designated airspace and surrounding grounds. During major sporting events like the FIFA World Cup, the FAA uses temporary flight restrictions, or TFRs, to secure the airspace and to help protect participants and attendees on the ground. On match days, unauthorized drone operations will be prohibited within a 3 nautical mile radius of a host stadium up to 3,000 feet above ground level, with additional restrictions of 1 mile and 1,000 feet at designated fan event sites. The FAA recently launched the Drone Expedited and Targeted Enforcement Deter Initiative to accelerate the identification and enforcement of drone violators. Deter will be used at the World Cup in support of enhanced drone enforcement. We encourage you to enjoy the tournament, but please leave your drone at home.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Glass. I'm the Commissioner of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And I just want to say what you're seeing here today is a teamwork, partnership, and not one agency can do it all. We have to do it together. That means you too. That means you out watching this. As you heard the SAC talk about and the FAA Administrator talk about, what you need to pay attention to is on drone activity. If you see it, call it out. If you see something, say something. That's the campaign we always have here. 1-855-FLA-SAFE, 1-855-FLA-SAFE. That will get it there so that way we can pay attention to it. You heard the federal law enforcement piece on that, but I also will tell you the state law enforcement piece on that. We have drone operators. We've already been through the school thanks to the FBI. But at the same token, we do watch drone activity in their flying. There is state statutes out there. If you decide to modify your drone, don't do it. Don't do it because there's felonies involved in that. Don't do it. If you try to skirt and not do the right thing, we will come after you. You're in the free state of Florida, but you're also in a law and order state. You're in a law and order state, and we want you to come here, have fun, have a blast. South Florida is one of the mecca of all visitation of anybody wanting to travel and have a good time, but at the same time, enjoy this great sunshine we have in this great state. On behalf of Governor Ron DeSantis, the cabinet, and our legislators, I want to welcome you to the South Florida area, but prepare yourself and have fun, but prepare yourself to pay attention to suspicious activity. That way you can let us know if there's something that doesn't seem right, we need to know about it. And I will tell you, again, the chiefs, the sheriffs of South Florida are second to none. And our federal cooperation here with the state of Florida is second to none. There's not one gap in between us. The only reason why you're seeing gap in between us is because we got tape on the floor. They told us to stay that far apart. Usually we're like this, but you don't have that problem. So anyway, I just want to say again, thank you, Deputy Director. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you having us here. And have fun at the games. Have fun. Thank you.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Adam Stahl. I'm the Deputy TSA Administrator. I want to thank the Deputy Director and the FBI for having us here today. What you see here today is a federal, state, and local coordination, really of the highest professional caliber. And we're honored here to be one of many behind me today. Through robust security partnerships and extensive coordination at key venues across the transportation system, the agencies and the organizations behind us are really working extremely hard, both in here in Miami, but also across the country to really ensure the safety and the security, as the Deputy Director and others said, of the participants, the players, the attendees, and the residents within Miami and the greater nation. So Miami, of course, has a unique spotlight with 500 million ticket requests, including #1 requested match in all of the World Cup. It has a unique spotlight on it, and of course, the folks behind you and myself are prepared. We're working extremely closely, again, with FBI, South Florida law enforcement agencies to really ensure that these operations are both risk-based but also intelligence-driven, and that's incredibly important here. On the transportation side, we're to really ensure the safe, secure, and seamless movement of travel, both in Miami and across the broader nation. We're really focused on augmenting these resources, both staff and technology. It's going to be positioned at Miami International, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International, Miami Metro bus stations, Miami Stadium, North Perry Airport, and rail, of course, including Brightline and others, and Tri-Rail. As well, TSA has deployed advanced security technologies, again, to ensure the seamless and secure travel of the large uptick of individuals coming in and out of the airports and other areas of critical infrastructure. We heard a little bit about drone technology, and so, again, TSA Director as well and the FBI are really working all hands on deck to ensure that we're rapidly addressing this unauthorized drone activity that we're hoping, again, encouraging folks to leave the drones at home, as the FAA and others mentioned. We're continuing to support also TFRs, or temporary flight restrictions, to secure our airspace in coordination, again, with the FAA and the FBI. And so there's going to be a zero tolerance. You heard this from state and locals and federal as well. Zero tolerance for reckless or criminal drone use, full stop. And so penalties are going to include substantial fines, criminal charges, incarceration, drone confiscation, as well as a district court violation known as to unlawful drone operators. Really wanted to thank, again, the FBI for having us here today. And this is really what interagency looks like in its highest forms. Thank you.
Yes, I was hoping you might comment in the collaboration and partnerships, Deputy Director, what the role of ICE.
Well, the president signed an executive order that details where each federal government entity fits in the structure, and so that's available through that executive order. And what I would say is that the minute the president put pen to paper, his executive agencies, under his direction and leadership, instantly began operationalizing that vision. And it includes not only across the lines of the federal government, but also in close coordination and partnership. Because look, it's not just about securing the matches and securing those fan fest events and those base camps. It's about all of the other activities that go on that put stressors on local agencies, local law enforcement. We know that although there are sanctioned events, fan fest events, that every bar with a television and a happy hour is going to host events of their own. And so that creates unique challenges from a staffing and law enforcement perspective at the local level. So it's not just those federal partnerships, but integration at the local level as well. And I would just direct you to that executive order.
There were scenes of chaos 2 years ago outside of the stadium when fans rushed from other countries during a high-profile match. Is the FBI coordinating with local officials and authorities to prevent those kinds of scenes from playing out again?
Absolutely. Look, every event like this carries certain amounts of risk. However, the partnerships, the coordination beforehand, the lessons learned help mitigate against those risks. Because what I would tell you is that the law enforcement standing behind me and the men and women that put on that uniform to keep these communities safe every single day, they have experience hosting Super Bowls, Miami Dolphins games, special events, concerts. And so the law enforcement professionals that stand with us here today, in partnership with their federal colleagues, have the experience and the intelligence necessary and the manpower and equipment necessary to mitigate those risks.
For fans who don't get to read the executive order, should anybody be worried about immigration marching into a game and arresting people?
Look, this is about safety and security of the matches and of the fans. And so there's an anticipated influx of visitors to our country to these matches. And so we're going to facilitate that in cooperation and coordination with all federal law enforcement agencies and in compliance with federal statute.
This is a major, obviously, global event. Have you heard any threats yet?
Yeah, there are no specific credible threats, but there are always risks. And so again, we are remaining vigilant to mitigate against those risks. And I think Director Kash Patel recently has outlined his concerns that include drones, which we've addressed extensively today. They include the potential for lone wolf attacks, and they include cyber scams. And so across all lines of effort, the FBI in partnership with our local state and local law enforcement agencies stand ready to mitigate against those threats. The FBI Miami field office is uniquely postured to address these concerns because of the top tier special teams and squads that are the best in the country, the very tip of the spear, that are located and staffed here at the Miami field office. I'll take one more question.
Like my colleague mentioned over there with the match that happened in 2024, in part it was because there were people who were not ticket holders on stadium property. During the FIFA World Cup, will people without tickets be allowed to enter the vicinity of the stadium?
So there will be security zones that are set up to mitigate against those risks. And again, that's at the sound discretion of the local law enforcement officials that are collaborating with us. And so I don't want to get into tactics, techniques, and procedures. But what I would tell you is that if you don't have a ticket to the game, don't go to the game. That we have Fan Fest events set up specifically to accommodate fans who want to have a combined fan experience but can't afford a ticket or can't get a ticket. And then I would also warn individuals against cyber scams, people who are selling tickets on a secondary market that aren't legitimate. And so we need to be conscious of that as well. And I know that our state counterparts stand ready to assist with any kind of consumer protection issues that may arise from that risk as well.
Also, human trafficking, is that a part of the plan?
Yeah, certainly. Look, what I would say is that that's an everyday occurrence, right? And certainly we see upticks in that kind of criminal behavior associated with major sporting events. And so it's something we're very conscious of. And we have plans in place to address that kind of collateral criminal behavior. With that, I'll say thank you for your time.
¿Están listos en español? Muy buenas tardes, yo soy Manny Morales, jefe de la Policía de Miami. Lo que vieron aquí hoy fue una junta de colaboración entre los compañeros del nivel federal, estatal y local. Estas juntas que tenemos aquí sirven para recordarle al público que estamos listos para tomar cualquier acción necesaria para mantener a nuestro pueblo, nuestra comunidad, el juego y los visitantes a nuestra región, mantenerlos sanos y salvos. El mensaje es bien simple.
They were just some photos. But we did get another one that's being delivered Wednesday. That was, Megan, you'll remember the one that was in Governor Murphy's conference room. That's the one we're going to use in the background, which is great because that thing like holds knickknacks and trinkets and stuff like that. And it looks nice. It looks good.
When they brought it, and he said, it's for a bookcase. And I went to your office, I got it. That's Maggie. I said, where is that going to fit? And she said, oh, it's downstairs.
Yeah.
I said, to the mirror, we can hear them going, like moving the thing. Like, and they had something else on the journey.
Yeah, they did. Somebody did not pay attention. And then I'm a kid, man.
Did Maggie call you?
No. Dave knows me. Sent me an email. Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
And you see it.
No, I didn't see it. Nobody sent me that. That's all they were supposed to get.
Poor guys were like, again?
How many people are going on Wednesday? I think it's Memorial Weekend.
No, that was last week.
Oh,
We didn't.
that one was a washout. We should enjoy it this week.
How are you? Good. Good. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Heads up.
Really great.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney General Davenport, Superintendent Hangemule, and Lieutenant Colonel Sorotowicz. I want to talk today about the situation at Delaney Hall, a private detention facility in Newark that I've long said needs to close. For days, we've heard reports of unsafe, inhumane, and unconstitutional conditions there. I've personally heard from families, some of the hundreds of people being held, people who are fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, members of our communities, including people with no criminal charges against them and who are in this country legally. For days, I've asked ICE for access to inspect conditions, to see what's happening inside in New Jersey on our soil. I went there myself and I was denied entry. For days, my colleagues in our federal congressional delegation have done the same. For days, ICE has refused most of our requests, raising serious questions about what it's trying to hide from public view. Yesterday, the New Jersey Department of Health sought to inspect the site, but it was denied full access as well. And for days, protests have grown. We've seen increasing violence, arrest, and pepper spray at Delaney Hall, as well as public threats from the Trump administration. And we've seen the risk to public safety rising outside of Delaney Hall. It has grown unsafe, and that's completely unacceptable. We know what ICE has done in other states, and we know American citizens lost their lives. And I refuse to let that happen in New Jersey. We all need to do everything we can to cool things down now. I will not give ICE the pretext to expand operations in our state. For that reason, New Jersey law enforcement is today establishing a peaceful, protected protest zone in the area right outside Delaney Hall. My administration will be working together with community members, faith leaders, advocates, and state police to help people move there today. Our top priority is public safety, and we need to take this opportunity to lower the temperature now. I've served nearly 10 years in the Navy. I took my first oath to the United States Constitution as a teenager, swearing to protect our rights with everything up to and including my life. I recently took an oath to the Constitution of New Jersey. I am going to protect people's right to protest peacefully, and I'm going to ensure everyone's safety. And I am confident in New Jersey we can do both. I'm also confident in our ability to ensure Fourth Amendment protections against unlawful search and seizure and First Amendment guarantees of free speech and free assembly. We will uphold the rule of law. Delaney Hall is a private detention facility run by a for-profit company providing zero transparency. I'm going to keep working with families and advocates to demand answers. I'll keep working with state police and law enforcement to keep all New Jersey residents safe. I'm continuing to take every action available to get the Department of Health inside the facility to do a full inspection, and I'll keep pushing to see Delaney Hall closed. I'll also keep calling on everyone there now, especially ICE, to de-escalate the situation, to act humanely, to protest peacefully, and to respect the laws and the Constitution of the United States. And now I'll turn it over to the Attorney General, who will share more.
Thank you, Governor. As New Jersey's Attorney General, I am focused on keeping the public safe and ensuring that everyone in our state is treated with dignity and respect. Like so many across our state, I am disturbed by the reports of unsafe conditions at Delaney Hall, and I will continue to work with Governor Sherrill and the rest of the administration to ensure the humane treatment of people being detained inside Delaney Hall. I'm also especially concerned about ensuring the safety and protecting the rights of everyone outside Delaney Hall. The constitutional right to assemble is fundamental to our democracy. It's what makes our country so special. The First Amendment is sacred, and I am committed to safeguarding the right of everyone to peacefully protest. At the same time, we must also ensure that everyone assembled outside Delaney Hall remains safe. That includes protesters and law enforcement. Let me make this clear. Violence either against protesters or by protesters is unacceptable, and it is not who we are. Increased escalation and increased ICE presence won't make anyone safer. As Governor Sherrill said, we need to do everything we can to lower the temperature and de-escalate the situation, which is why, to protect the public and safeguard the right to protest, our state police will be taking public safety operations over from ICE outside Delaney Hall this afternoon. As part of their efforts, the state police is creating clearly demarcated areas outside Delaney Hall to ensure that people can protest safely and peacefully. Our state police has also established vehicle checkpoints to reduce vehicle traffic outside the facility and to reduce the risk of injury to protesters. Ultimately, we are taking these actions to ensure the protection of civil rights and the safety and security of all involved. We're urging the public to stay safe and exercise their rights peacefully. Our law enforcement is there to keep everyone safe and to protect the right to protest, and we are committed to both of those goals. Thank you, and I'll now turn it over to New Jersey State Police Acting Superintendent Hagemuhl.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Governor. We respect and support every individual's right to peacefully protest and make their voices heard. Our priority is ensuring the safety of everyone involved. We encourage all demonstrations to remain peaceful, lawful, and respectful so that everyone can exercise their rights safely. We have been working with our community partners to establish a plan that allows us to support everyone safely. I want to introduce Lieutenant Colonel David Srodowitz, who will provide details on the steps we are taking. Colonel.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Governor. Thank you, General. Thank you, Superintendent. We want everyone to have the right to peacefully assemble and to exercise their constitutionally protected rights. Our number one priority, as always, is public safety. In line with this, last night, in coordination with Newark Police Department, we created a roadway diversion to protect those assembled that were standing in our roadways. Worth noting, we have seen an increase in protesters at night. And again, our job is to protect all members of the public. We have therefore established a plan in coordination with our law enforcement partners to delineate peaceful assembly zones. At this juncture, we are at currently right now, our mission will start with our messaging to our local advocates that our focus is to allow for peaceful assembly through the creation of these designated areas to assemble and minimizing the impediments to our roadways while de-escalating tensions in these areas. Once we delineate these zones, our posture would then focus on maintaining a peaceful environment. It is also important to note that while we establish these zones, our local ICE agents and partners have agreed to remove themselves from the immediate area, decreasing potential agitation from the protesters. We will continue to monitor this environment, continue to keep our public safety in the forefront of everything we do, and provide a peaceful environment for all. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And now we'll take some on-topic questions.
So I drive up to Delaney or thereabouts. What do I see going forward? In the past, it's been like a phalanx of like 40 ICE officers. Are we now going to see state police standing there instead and no ICE presence outside the building? And about how big are these zones? There's not a lot of space in that area, so how are people going to be accommodated?
LTC, you want
Sure,
to
absolutely.
describe it?
So right now, as you're pulling up, there will be checkpoints going in, right? And the reason for that is we wanted to close the roadways so we don't have any protesters or peaceful assemblers that are struck by vehicles. What it would look like right now, while we're setting those up, is our personnel, the New Jersey State Police, would then take control of that immediate area. As far as the protest zones or the peaceful assemble zones, we are making them large. We're not pinning people in. We have over 600 yards of bicycle racks right now that we're allowing people to go into to peacefully assemble.
Governor, what has your conversation been like with the Trump administration on these protest zones? And is it your understanding that by setting up these protest zones, it could prevent an influx of DHS officers from coming into Newark?
Well, I think you really keyed in on our big concern here. We've seen over the past 4 nights continued interactions between ICE and protesters. We really feel like adding ICE to this situation has made things less safe. And we've seen a surge now in ICE agents coming into the region, which has given us a great deal of concern. So right now we are working to make sure we get ICE out of the situation, establish peaceful areas for protesters. We also had a protester get hit by a vehicle, which is why we last night took actions on the vehicles, and are working again to just create a much safer environment. And we know from other states that that is not how ICE would take charge of the situation. So we are making sure that we give them no pretext for coming in here, clearing out the ability of people to actually, raise their concerns, peacefully protest. We are going in to make sure that we are both creating the ability of people to draw attention to the real concerns that they have about what's going on inside this facility, where there has not been enough accountability, that they have the ability to peacefully protest, and that they do so safely. I would say as well that the other concern we already were addressing for tomorrow is that there are pro-ICE protesters coming as well, so we are setting up areas so that people can protest peacefully against what's going on inside the facility, but also the pro-ICE protesters have an area to protest as well.
You had mentioned that you saw a surge of ICE agents coming into the region. Is it your understanding that's directly tied to what's happening at Delaney Hall right now? What does that look like?
That is certainly our concern.
Governor, are you aware of ICE breaking the law that you signed whenever they wear masks to counter protesters outside Delaney Hall, recognizing that this is probably a matter for the courts? Is there a way to exercise jurisdictional authority by the state?
Max, we agree with you, and that's why we are in court right now.
You mentioned the Fourth Amendment. Has there been an issue with ICE taking things from protesters or otherwise violating the Fourth Amendment?
Our concern, my concern in speaking to many of the protesters is certainly with respect to due process. I was hearing from many of the protesters that people were here legally. They were showing up to their court hearings, then picked up by ICE, put into the facility to Delaney Hall. and then not having appropriate hearings. So, for example, Senator Kim said that he had heard that in one day one judge was hearing 74 cases, I believe. That certainly does not give people their due process rights.
But, I mean, it was relative to, you said First Amendment and Fourth Amendment, and that's why the state police would be there.
Well, the state police are there. We are here committed to all of our constitutional rights. Those are some of the rights I'm concerned about. The state police are specifically there to ensure people have the ability to protest and that they can do so safely.
Have you been in touch with Governor Hochul or the Trump administration on what's going to happen with Newark Airport? Mark Mullen mentioned a possibility of limiting flights or international flights at the airport in connection to Delaney Hall.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, to think that right now we have a situation, we're here in New Jersey, we are laser focused on taking care of people, to ensure that people inside Delaney Hall are treated with dignity, to ensure that people who want to exercise their constitutional rights have the ability to do so, to ensure that we are following the rule of law and public safety. And instead of being any help whatsoever in this regard, values of this state certainly, and historically this nation, we have these threats coming that they're going to shut down the international terminal in Newark right before the FIFA World Cup. It's completely ridiculous.
Governor, do you have any word on whether or not the Department of Health will be allowed in for a full inspection, not just an isolated area inspection?
That's what we're in talks with right now. We have not received word back, but we certainly went in. Our Department of Health went in there. They did not have full access. And, you know, I strongly feel like if you are running a facility that is safe and humane, you would not restrict access like that. It would be like if you're going into a hospital with the Department of Health and you just get to see the kitchens. That's certainly not adequate. And so we have the GEO facility, for some reason, acted as if they didn't have the authority to do that, so we have taken that up with ICE. We are waiting to hear back.
Yesterday, we obviously heard several reports that some of the ICE officers inside were being violent towards the detainees. How is your office addressing that at all?
We continue to have our federal delegation who is going inside routinely to speak to people inside the facility. We also have worked, as I said, to get the Department of Health in there to understand, because we've also received complaints about unsanitary conditions and food. And we'll continue to work to get answers on all of that, along with our federal partners.
Very final question. Governor, we know that the GEO Group is a privately contracted entity, but is there any clarity on who actually owns the land? Is there any way for the state to exercise authority in how that particular parcel is used?
So there are a lot of people that own different areas. It's why we're very careful about choosing how we could make sure that protesters had the ability to have a space to protest. Essex County has allowed us to use land that is very close to the facility, so we are able to secure that for them. We also, I think bringing up GEO, it's, here you have a private group that has historically been in court for poor treatment of people inside their detention facilities that they run across the country, gave, tons of money to Trump's campaign, and now have $1 billion contract, as we are fighting affordability, as people's costs go up, $1 billion contract to run this facility poorly, I might add, at the same time that many of the people inside the facility were not breaking the law and were showing up to their court hearings. So again, that is why I've been opposed to these private detention facilities, among several other reasons, and that is why I think it should be shut down, because it's obviously not operating well right now, and that's why we're continuing to work to get inside the facility to make sure that we can have the Department of Health in there to see what's going on. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Kendra Gerlach. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Corporate Communications for Mary Washington Healthcare. And Mary Washington Healthcare is a two-hospital system that includes Stafford Hospital and Mary Washington Hospital. So you've seen that in our statement. I'm going to give you a brief opening statement with an update on where we are, and then I'm going to introduce you to the medical director of our trauma services, who is Dr. Wright, and then Dr. Wright will be happy to field your questions. So by way of statement, now I'll give you an update. Mary Washington Healthcare continues to care for patients from the overnight bus crash on I-95. Of the 19 patients received, 12 have been treated and released from Stafford Hospital in Stafford, Virginia. One has been treated and released from Mary Washington Hospital in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and 6 remain hospitalized at Mary Washington Hospital. Of those hospitalized, 1 is in critical condition, 2 are in serious condition, and 3 are in fair condition. We continue to provide care to patients even after discharge until alternate travel arrangements can be made. And now I would like to introduce you to our trauma medical director. This is Dr. Corey Wright, who is a trauma surgeon at Mary Washington Healthcare, and we are happy to take your questions. You're welcome to come off mute or just speak up, raise your hand. Darcy Spencer, NBC Universal.
Yes, hi, Darcy Spencer from NBC4. So as I heard, there's 6 remaining hospitalized. 1 is in critical, 2 serious, 3 fair. Could you give us an idea of the extent of the injuries, what types of injuries, not getting gory or anything? And then as far as the critical, is that life-threatening?
Yes, as mentioned before, the patients that we received were of the sicker or more injured of those patients. In regard to the organ systems that were injured with the patients that we took care of, it included injuries to the neurological system, such as, brain, spinal cord concerns, chest wall injuries, and abdominal injuries, and also orthopedic injuries, bony injuries. And of those conditions, yes, I would consider them to be life-threatening.
Is that just for the 1 patient or for multiple as far as life-threatening?
Multiple, yes.
Hi, this is Sarah Robinson with WUSA 9. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you talk about what it is like to get so many patients from one incident and how you can be prepared for something like this with your team?
Yes, as a trauma center, we work very well with all of our surrounding EMS agencies. We have staff that are trained and well practiced in dealing with events that occur in this situation, life-threatening, sudden changes, or very dramatic or traumatic incidents. So this is something that we really prepare for and train for in regards to taking care of patients. We were fortunate as a trauma center that we have the ability to absorb many patients at once, along with the coordination of the ER nurses and ER doctors, along with the PAs, with our trauma team, which comprises of myself and my partners. We're 8 of us total with 10 APPs or PAs and a gambit of other specialists in all areas of surgical and medical care, including neurosurgery, orthopedics, ER, along with other specialists with other organ systems. In addition to that, we have, and are very fortunate to have our pastoral care and chaplain services to help with other components of the patients and their families. So like we practice and like we train for every day, those processes worked seamlessly and very streamlined this morning in the wee hours. The surgeon on call did alert our backup system, which I was a part of, and we all came together and worked to take care of each patient individually, while making sure that everyone was being cared for at the same time.
I saw a hand up from Mariah earlier. Mariah, were you able to ask your question?
Hi, Mariah at CNN. Can you hear me pretty well?
Yes.
I was wondering if any of the patients were saying anything about the trip they were on, if they were hoping to get out of the hospital sooner, or like where they were headed in general when the crash happened.
We don't know the details of the trip, no.
Thank you.
Juan, Ben, I see your hand up, Washington Post.
Yes, hi. Sorry I missed the first few minutes of this call, so forgive me if I'm asking questions that were already asked.
It's
But I
okay.
just had two questions. One, were all the patients that were treated at the trauma center, were they all passengers on the bus? And then my second question, and I understand if there's some parameters around this and what you can say, but what kind of injuries did folks sustain? And if it needs to be from non-life threatening to critical to life threatening, then happy to take that too.
Yes, I don't have all the details on which parties the patients were a part of. They all came in as we call them, trauma patients or trauma alerts, and were treated as such. The injuries range from stable injuries to serious and to critical in regards to their injury status.
Thank you. And just one quick follow-up, because I know that at least earlier in the day, some patients had been discharged, and so what's the status of the patients that were taken to the trauma center at this moment?
Juan, I'll give you the rundown again. As a health system, Mary Washington Healthcare has received a total of 19 patients from this incident overall. Of the 19, 12 have been treated and released from Stafford Hospital in Stafford, Virginia. The remaining 7, 1 has been treated and released from Mary Washington Hospital in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and 6 remain hospitalized at Mary Washington Hospital.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Other questions?
Were you able to get into contact with any of the family members of these trauma victims? Do their family members know where they are? Are you able to comment on that?
Yes, our pastoral care team has been working along with nursing staff, of locating or trying to locate family members for all the patients. The details on that specifically, I cannot tell you, but yes, we are working with all those avenues to make sure that the families of these individuals are aware and are, able to get here, and hopefully soon we can get those patients back to their families to get on with their lives.
I know there were several vehicles on fire. Did you have to treat any burns?
We did not.
Are you able to provide ages or age range of those who are remaining, or the total of the 19?
For all adults.
That includes the 19, every single one's an adult, is what you're saying, correct?
No, I cannot speak on the ones that we not take care of, and in regards to the ones that we have taken care of here, they were all adults. I do not know the details of everyone at the scene.
And I'll help clarify too, the patients at Stafford Hospital, I'm not sure if those ages, we can get that. Those have all been treated and released, but of those who remain hospitalized at Mary Washington Hospital, those are all adult patients.
Thank you for that clarification.
Was anyone life flighted to the trauma center?
Not to us. I'm not aware of any. There is no life flight to our center.
Other questions?
Sir, are you able to speak on how this incident may have been any different? And, I mean, it's basically, sadly, a vehicle incident, but it's so many people involved is not, the norm. But was there anything that was different about this beyond the sheer number of people involved in terms of the care that was needed.
Well, yes, I would have to give my hat to and much kudos to the pre-hospital crews that arrived to the scene. They were the ones that, upon arrival, initiated the mass casualty alerts, and with coordination with the EMS and with the hospitals in the area, they were then able to triage patients to the appropriate centers, with the trauma centers, ours included, in being, as far as I understand, one of the main ones involved with receiving the sicker of the patients based upon their criteria. In regards to their care, as a trauma center, we this is what we do daily. This is what we work to our best and strive to do at a high level of care and capacity to take care of patients and to treat them and get them back to their families and get them back into the community. Um, so that was no different than a normal day. The volume of the patients that do arrive does pose some challenges, but we were able to flex up and, as I said before, to really absorb all those patients with everyone on site and with people coming from home as backup to really jump in and take care of the patients with good communication, good coordination of care between my team, the specialists of the consultants of orthopedics, neurosurgery, the ICU, and along with the pastoral care team, and definitely with the coordination of our nursing supervisors to get everyone seen, assessed, fully covered, and also taken treated. The OR did wonderful with preparing availability for us to get into the operating room to take care of those who required surgery. So it was a great it was a great testament of our preparation. I would say I'm very proud of my team.
Other questions? Okay, if there's nothing further, then we will close this down and let Dr. Wright get back to his patients. Any final questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you.
I appreciate you arriving. We wanted to get this to you ahead of the 5 o'clock newscast so you can help with your stories for tonight. So thank you all. Please reach out to us, continue to, if you need anything further on this, and we'll do our best to be as responsive as possible.
And sorry, Kendra, just a question for you. Cameron Thompson with CBS6. Were you able doing a recording of this that you're sending out? Because I wasn't able to do a visual recording of this myself.
No, we were not doing a recording. We will post an updated statement on the website that will cover the same information that we covered here, but it was not recorded, no.
Okay.
Okay. Continue to check back to our website, to the alert, and for ongoing updates as well. But reach out if we can help you with anything else. All right. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Wright, especially, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Bye, all.
soon as the bus pulls off, we'll get started. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Rick Erickson, Chief Communications Officer for the City of Dallas. We're going to give you an update